Welcome back to the United Pubcast for your latest chat. Thanks everyone for joining us in the live chat while you're here. Not sure where Larry is. Unfortunately, no show. Fingers crossed all is well with him. But unfortunately, flying solo. Do my best as always. But do get your thoughts in and around the live comments for me to bounce off, and we can have a little bit of a chat there. If you do want to join the stream, let us know. I can throw the link in if you do want to join us. It's always hard asking people. I don't want to ask people to come on before the show and sort of ruin their nightly plans, but do appreciate everyone joining us. If you are with us, please do leave a like on the video. That'll be very much appreciated. And I'll just sort of go through a little bit, sort of one or two of the talking points that has popped up throughout the media over the last. When was the match? The match was over 24 hours ago now. The match was a while ago, but there has been a little bit of a fallout. Obviously, we're looking at the David De Gea situation in regards to the physical performance on the pitch and the incident that we all did see, but obviously his future, the contract situation. One or two bits of news in regards to assurances. There was an article, I think, from the Times or the Telegraph. I'm not sure which one. I think James Ducker put out that David De Gea doesn't have sort of first-team assurances next season. Now, I think that's pretty standard. I don't see that as news. I don't think any player should be guaranteed first-team football unless they're performing well. So I think that's a very easy story to write, but we'll get into the ins and outs of that and everyone's thoughts on that. And also the Dean Henderson news is popping up as some of the big sort of fan accounts and channels are sort of pushing Dean Henderson at the moment. So that sort of swims straight into the David De Gea argument, and a few other sort of bits and pieces as well. Wout Weghorst is obviously sort of, he came out with a little bit of an interview, not to be critical of him, but he came out saying that he's potentially a little bit confident of signing or joining United. He hasn't heard from them, but he sees that as good news. He thinks potentially his future is at United. Get your thoughts on that. And a little bit on Anthony Martial as well. There's too much news around Anthony Martial, but I just thought it'd be sort of a good time to have a little bit of chat, which is all I wanted Larry on in regards to discussing his future in and around not just him personally, but also in regards to the striker situation, because we can all sit here and say, okay, get rid of Anthony Martial. Okay. Well, is Weghorst the number one striker then? Are we going to sign Harry Kane for 100 million, or is it going to be only Weghorst? So at the moment, I think all of us sort of side on the sort of side of the fence and say, okay, it's probably the right thing to do to get rid of Anthony Martial, but what's coming in? And I think that is the sort of dilemma Erik ten Hag has. So every sort of player I'll go through in this, I'll have to sort of differentiate my points in regards to what I would do, what my thinking is, but also what is going through Erik ten Hag's head. Because Erik ten Hag might have an opinion, we might sort of fly straight off the bat in regards to David De Gea. He might have an opinion on David De Gea and what he wants, but in regards to what he's thinking, might have think, well, I'm not going to get this from the board, I'm not going to get this from the owners, so I might have to compromise a little bit, and that could affect his decision making. We saw that so often under Jose Mourinho and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for example, where a manager can have plans, a manager can have an idea or an ambition to go and do something, but his hands are tied a little bit. And I think Erik ten Hag, unfortunately, we don't want to agree with this. We all think that, okay, times are going to change. Times don't change. We are still owned by the Glazers. The Glazers still pulling the strings. So as long as that is the case, every manager will always fall into the same pitfalls as previous managers. I think we said, okay, Erik ten Hag's come in and been absolutely brilliant. He's still a Manchester United manager who is on a string from the Glazers. So until that changes, we're going to be having this debate. It seems every time we come into that run in that 3-4 games to go in the rest of the season, and we're looking forward to sort of the transfer window, we're always having these debates about managers saying no matter how good they are, their hands are tied. And I think there was so much sort of positivity, and rightly so. I shared it more than anyone when Erik ten Hag came in and the job that he was doing, and we said, no, it doesn't matter, this guy's special, which he is. Yeah, only so much. It's only so much you can do when the Glazers are the ones calling the shot. So, Rob, good to see you in the chat as always, mate. Hope all is well. It's been a tough couple of days for Rob and I in the chat in regards to discussing United's prospects. And Box, good to see you. Not getting a director of football will cost us. I agree, but I also look at, well, did we? In regards to, there's obviously John Murtaugh. Some people think he's doing a good job. Some people think he's doing a bad job. The signings, I think we're all happy with the signings. How did the signings come about? Probably isn't exactly how we wanted them to come about. So you could argue, okay, it was a bad job by John Murtaugh, but the result was maybe good. Obviously not financial in regards to the way the Martinez and Anthony deals sort of did come about in regards to what we could have got them earlier in the window from Ajax compared to what we ended up paying at the end of the window. So that is obviously a debate we can have at in and around John Murtaugh. But we'll start on David De Gea. So if you're in the live chat, do get your thoughts in and around just in regards to Erik ten Hag, what he's thinking. So we can have an opinion if David De Gea needs to go or David De Gea needs to stay. Obviously, at the moment, a lot of us would side, and I think rightly so, potentially on the side that David De Gea needs to go. But I want you to put yourselves in the shoes of Erik ten Hag and what he's thinking. Because my main thing, which I think a lot of people are missing in the David De Gea debate, if you think, well, there's no doubt you can go get a better goalkeeper in regards to ball playing and distribution out from the back, no doubt. If you go and get a better goalkeeper in that regard, that's fine. Okay, go get one off the shelf. Go get it from Brentford. Go get it from David Ray. Whoever you want to get, no issue. 100%. That's sort of Manchester United can afford that. Erik ten Hag can find it. I'm sure the scouting department has all the best analysis in regards to who the best ball player and goalkeepers are. Go get him. It's not a recipe for the makings of a Manchester United goalkeeper. Gary Neville made a very good point a couple of weeks ago. It might have been on the Overlap or one of his podcasts, or I forget where it was. But he brought it up, and I never sort of really gave this much thought before, but think of every position in world football. Okay, the right wing for Real Madrid, or the number 6 at Chelsea, or the left wing at PSG, or the central midfielder at Arsenal. The goalkeeping position at Manchester United, the number 1 shirt at Manchester United, is the hardest position in world football. And I've never really given it too much thought, because growing up it was Peter Schmeichel. Okay, easy job. Okay, had nothing to do. It was just all he had to do was collect the trophy at the end of the season. Then it was obviously that sort of tough period with Fabio Barthez, Mark Bosnich, Massimo Taibbi, Roy Carroll, etc. Then we had another long sustained period of time where it was Edwin van der Sar, so we never really thought about it. Then after Edwin van der Sar, there was a very smooth transition into David De Gea. Got very lucky. Usually after a long sort of goalkeeper is in charge, that next goalkeeper is going to be a failure, which is my next real concern when David De Gea does leave. But we haven't had that debate around as fans around the goalkeeping position at Manchester United, just how big a job it is in regards to the expectation and scrutiny around it. So you can go get it, let's say even a complete package better goalkeeper than David De Gea in regards to attributes and traits, skill level, etc. The mentality of being a Manchester United goalkeeper, that is the huge, and the next goalkeeper might have that. He very well might, but he might not. And that is where I think Erik ten Hag, in regards to the way we've titled this today, in regards to trust, does he trust these players? Does he trust David De Gea's ball playing ability? No, he definitely doesn't. Does he trust David De Gea coming and collecting crosses and demanding his box? No, he doesn't. Does he trust David De Gea to come and play sweeper keeper like Manuel Neuer? No, he doesn't. Does he trust his shot stopping ability? Yeah, well, okay, put aside the West Ham mistake, of course, but over the course of the season, obviously you do trust David De Gea in a between the sticks goalkeeping wise. But I think where Erik ten Hag might have a little bit of a sort of hesitancy in letting David De Gea go is, I think, where he does trust him, and he's name dropped him a few times in regards to leadership roles in and around the dressing room. He trusts him as having the mentality of succeeding at Manchester United. Now, David De Gea, it's been a while since won a Premier League title through no fault of De Gea, but he is a player who's won it all, obviously Champions League aside, and he's one of those players where you can, let's say David Ray, he's the easy example, and I'm not picking on David Ray. I think he's a solid enough keeper, good keeper. Weirdly, David De Gea's got far better passing stats than David Ray, but we can apply context in and around that. But David Ray might be a better goalkeeper for what Manchester United need, but can he perform with the weight of the Manchester United shirt? Because not many goalkeepers can. Okay, we've had 3 in the last 3 decades in Schmeichel, Van der Sar, and David De Gea. So that is where I think Erik ten Hag he has that trust in David De Gea. Okay, he can be Manchester United's number 1. Now, will he be? I'm not sure what will happen down the track. But in regards to, let's go get the better goalkeeper for 20 million, 30 million, whatever it is, you don't know how he's going to perform. Angel Di Maria, world-class player. Can he perform at Manchester United? No. Paul Pogba, unreal ability. Can he perform at Manchester United consistently? No, he doesn't have the mindset to that. What's another player you look at? Alexis Sanchez, all the ability in the world. Manchester United player? No. And I think that is where we're looking at a potentially new goalkeeper. And as Gary Neville says, it is the hardest position in world football. No position has the expectation or scrutiny that comes with the Manchester United goalkeeping shirt. So that is where I think Erik ten Hag and myself as well is extremely hesitant in just saying, okay, get rid of De Gea and we'll get a new goalkeeper and he'll fix it. If that is to happen and a new goalkeeper comes in, fingers crossed that is the case, and I'd absolutely love it. Just hesitant. And that is where I think you're looking where now Erik ten Hag in the media in regards to how he's saying we want David De Gea to stay, we want him to sign a new contract. He's doing that with Harry Maguire. He did that with Cristiano Ronaldo. I think that's just lip service in and around, okay, the way you sort of protect your players in the media. But I think there is also an element of truth in regards to what Erik ten Hag is thinking, because it is such a huge risk. Remember when Claudio Bravo came in with Pep Guardiola to replace Joe Hart? Huge failure. Okay, obviously better goalkeeper with far better ball playing ability, but did he have what it took to perform in the Premier League at Manchester City? No, he didn't. So I'm just thinking it is a risk, and obviously we are in a position where you probably do have to take a risk. Of course, my opinion is there are far more pressing issues in the squad But that'll be for Erik Ten Hag in terms of the value he places on playing out from the back. I'm a very firm believer in, yes, we can play better football and alleviate a lot of pressure with a better goalkeeper playing out from the back. But when we do that, we sort of advance through the final thirds and we get the ball up to right wing and we cross it into Weghorst. If Weghorst misses the chance, that's not because David De Gea is playing out from the back in a certain way. I think players do need to take responsibility, and he's, in my opinion, getting a little bit of too much criticism in regards to our front three, not putting the ball in the back of the net. I think that's their job, not David De Gea's. But do get me your thoughts in the comments as we move maybe through the squad. As I said, and that's not me. Look, I'm a big fan of David De Gea. I've got no issue at all with anyone saying get rid of him or in terms of selling him, move him on. I share that opinion in some aspects, of course, especially in regards to the future. But I just have a huge concern. But I put on Twitter the other day as well. I hate everyone who watches the podcast knows I hate using this word, but disgusted, disgraceful in regards to the treatment he's getting online. Look, he's a club legend in my opinion. If you want to knock him down to a club, great, that's your opinion. But the treatment he's getting online by big accounts and these big platforms, fans want him to make a mistake. Like even one or two people in here, I know people are just egging. Well, they want to see mistakes, so it suits their sort of perception. They want to be proven right, and I just think to want a club legend to fail, it's embarrassing. So if you are one, pull your head in. But if you do see that on social medias, I'll call it out because David De Gea deserves better. If his future is away from United, so be it. Okay, best of luck wherever you do go, and fingers crossed our new goalkeeper is a success. But the treatment he is receiving online, in my opinion, is shocking. But I'll say good day to some people or some other opinions in the chat. Rob here was listening to Fabrizio Romano today. If there's a decent keeper available at a decent price, we go in a challenge for David De Gea. I think that is where I'd potential. And this Qatar owners, Glaze, who do we have in charge? Who's signing the checks? Who's got the ambition in regards to transfer market? So much will play in and around who is the owner of the club. Let's say it's the Glazers and funds are limited, and Erik Ten Hag has to prioritise a striker over a goalkeeper. But it is where an area he does want to address. That is where I would look. I would be selling Dean Henderson. We'll get into Dean Henderson in maybe one or two of the other comments as well. And I would then look, and this is not an ideal situation, far from it. That's when you'd look into bringing a proper number two in regards to a young prospect who Erik Ten Hag might think like, okay, this guy could be better than David De Gea. If he performs well, he's going to get his chance. Look at Terrell Malacia at the start of the season. £13 million signing to come in. At the start of the season, we'll call him for Malacia to play over Luke Shaw. Not just in terms of Luke Shaw was performing bad, but when Malacia came in, he performed well. Now, Malacia has obviously dropped off a little bit, but I think as things stand with the Glazers and other priorities, my preference at the moment would be to bring in a number two who Erik Ten Hag believes if he performs well, suits us well. I wouldn't go and be sort of splashing the cash and bringing in a goalkeeper for 100 million and not sell David De Gea and have David De Gea on the bench for 250 grand a week or whatever his new contract is going to be. It's a very sort of fine balancing act for Erik Ten Hag and manager Erik Ten Hag and David De Gea. Is Henderson in with a chance? Yeah, not for me. Look, and some people will in regards to the traits he brings in it. I think he's a decent enough keeper, decent for Manchester United. Me personally, I don't think so. I think if Dean Henderson didn't come through the academy at Manchester United, if he was just at Forest or if he was at Aston Villa or Brighton, would we go and want to sign him for 50 million? No, he wouldn't even be mentioned. He's obviously not a good enough keeper for that level. But obviously, we do have a little bit of an affiliation because he has played at the club before, and we have seen him. And obviously, you do want any young player who's coming through to have a career at Manchester United. But me personally, I don't see that it factor. I don't see that special factor. And obviously, after his behaviour with Samuel Luckhurst over the last couple of seasons, in regards to the dressing room leaks, we called that out. We didn't want those in the dressing rooms. So obviously, Dean Henderson was the main culprit. And to sort of welcome him back, me personally, I thought he didn't behave in the makings of what should be a Manchester United player. So Dean Henderson is a no for me. No, if he comes back and Ten Hag gives him the gloves, I'll back him. But yeah, he's not high on my Christmas card list at the moment. Is Dean Henderson box? The whole goalkeeping unit is in a state of flux. De Gea should go. Henderson wants to go. Heaton out of contract. Button loan deal not becoming permanent. Bishop, Kovar, both 24 should move. Apparently Kovar's having a decent loan spell. I'm sure. I just saw a Twitter sort of compilation, so maybe it was just one game. Who knows how? But a lot of people are talking him up. But yeah, it all stemmed back from, in my opinion, the decision under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, whether it was his decision or the club, who knows. But when Dean Henderson came back and he was the number 2. He didn't go out on loan, or we didn't sell him, and we had two goalkeepers. Now, we could say we performed well goalkeeping-wise in regards to stats that season, but I'm just saying having that second player on the bench just didn't help things. And I think that a firm decision had to be made there. Dean Henderson's our number 1, sell De Gea, or De Gea's our number 1, sell Henderson. It wasn't made, and unfortunately, the result is here we are 4 or 5 years later having the same discussion. So that's where I think it did go wrong. Chris, good to see you, mate, as well. Where's the Raw? Goldbridge is toxic. No idea why so many people watch him. He does have a big platform. I think he neglects that responsibility that comes with his platform at times, no doubt. And enough about Goldbridge. Bloody hell, De Gea is copping it hard. Even at hard, we can't even score goals. That is where I feel. And look, the criticism of David De Gea is 100% warranted. Here I'm 15 minutes talking about him. It is warranted in regards to criticism, but in my opinion, it has gone beyond criticism. I think it's got to the stage where it's unfortunately just abuse and over the top, and he doesn't deserve that. I don't think any player deserves that, but a club legend, or in my opinion, a legend, whether you want to call him a great, definitely doesn't deserve it. So that is where I'll defend him a little bit more. Look at Scott McTominay. I'm fully sort of aware and sort of accepting of all his limitations and someone's opinion to move Scott McTominay on 100%. But because of the over-the-top criticism and abuse at times, I find myself defending him even more. Maybe I'm in the same category of David De Gea. Let me know. Indica, good to see you. Hoping for 3 straight home wins. I hope it wouldn't need them, definitely. And that will obviously be enough. So as doom and gloom as everything is at the moment in regards to top 4, it is still in our hands. Fingers crossed Liverpool can drop points. I think Liverpool have a pretty easy run. I think maybe Aston Villa might be their toughest game left, but a tough one. Box, I agree there is more problems than De Gea. The fact that Everton scored 5 away to Brighton while we haven't scored a goal v Brighton in the last 4 games, bar McAllister own goal. Brighton, they're just that new team. Wolves were for years in regards to Wolves. We played every second week. It feels like we play Brighton every week now, and Brighton have our number. So fingers crossed. Obviously, Brighton aren't going to get relegated. What a result for Everton. I woke up this morning and saw that score. Okay, that's wrong. I'll go and watch the highlights to make sure that was. And what a result for Everton. I think, does it make them safe now? I'm not sure what that did to the league table. Obviously, it definitely hurt Leeds. Obviously, Leeds' result on the weekend, Big Sam didn't help their chances. So obviously, good performance away at Manchester City in regards to the score compared to what it could have been. But Leeds is dropping like flies, and Everton maybe a little bit of a step closer to safety. I think the match this week, Everton and Manchester City, I believe is this week at Goodison Park. If not next week, but I believe it is this week. Manchester City at Everton. That's what English Premier League is. 3 games left. Away Goodison Park, title chase in Manchester City, relegation battle Everton. That, in my opinion, now how the game unfolds, who knows? It might be a boring sort of 2-0 win the City. But before kickoff, that is a game even I'll be up for watching in regards to that. That has all the makings of a Premier League classic. Now we'll go on to, who's the next player on my list? To be fair, I don't actually have a list in front of me. I've just gone on top of my head. We'll go further forward. 2 more players, Harry Maguire and Anthony Martial. We'll move up the pitch steadily. Harry Maguire, in regards to the way the podcast is titled today, in regards to trust, I think this is pretty clear. Obviously, we've just had a 20-minute debate around David De Gea and should he go, should he stay. Harry Maguire, I think, is very clear in regards to does Erik ten Hag trust him? And I think we have it just physical, clear evidence that Erik ten Hag doesn't trust him in regards to playing Luke Shaw, Victor Lindelof, players like that over him. Harry Maguire just simply hasn't got a look in when fit. Obviously, once or twice in regards to squad rotation, of course, but for your captain not to be included when there's been so many opportunities to include him, especially when your 2 centre-backs are out injured, you're playing a player out of position, and Victor Lindelof, who's supposedly below Harry Maguire on the pecking order, I think it's clear Harry Maguire isn't trusted by Erik ten Hag, and that is where we are looking at a transfer window, and you would suggest maybe, well, hopefully, in regards to look at financial fair play and sort of getting a few funds in for our transfer kitty. Not that it works like that, but obviously you do have to sell players and get them off the books and recoup a little bit of that value. Where does he go? Obviously, Aston Villa, when he came on against Aston Villa a couple of weeks ago, Aston Villa were chanting his name. And now, was that sarcastic? Was that being behind him? Because obviously there was links a while ago when Harry Maguire was in and around playing golf around Aston Villa. I thought, something might be happening here. So I do believe Harry Maguire's future is away at United. I think there is a sort of realistic path. Obviously, you look at the contract situation and who's going to pay whatever Harry Maguire is on. Of course, he's not. He's going to have to take a pay cut, or United might have to accept a lesser fee, of course. But I think all parties involved, I just see this working. Usually these deals happen where you think, Anthony Martial over the years, who we'll get into, so no one's going to pay his wages and he's going to stay at United. So that he'll just be stuck at United. Phil Jones will just be stuck at United. I think Harry Maguire, in terms of the person, I think he still gets through. in regards, I don't think he forces it through in a messy way, because obviously I think the club do want to sort of push him on. So I don't think the club will stand in his way. But I think it will be one where he just seems like the type of character, in my opinion, who will take a pay cut. And obviously not, he won't be going for nothing. But I think he does want to sort of prolong his England career. So I do think Harry Maguire does move. In the chat, let me know what club do you think. You're look at West Ham stay up. Obviously, West Ham are in the Premier League next season. I think they're mathematically safe, potentially, probably not, maybe one more point. But you're looking obviously at Declan Rice rumours who's sort of floating about. I think Harry Maguire to West Ham is a sort of real shout. You obviously look at Aston Villa. Could he return to Leicester if Leicester stay in the Premier League? I'm not sure. I think he definitely obviously stays in England. He's not going abroad. So where do you think Harry Maguire could end up? Where's the Raw? He talks about Leicester. In regards to Leicester Waterfall, they'll get picked off next season. I think I tipped Leicester at the start of the season to go down. I think I was chatting to Rob maybe a couple of months ago in regards to, I think I tipped them before a ball was kicked to go down. I didn't like what they did in the transfer window and the makeup of their squad. I don't like Leicester, but I've got a lot of respect for Leicester. But I don't often get predictions right in regards to league position, but I think I might be close with this one with Leicester. Boxy Maguire, I rate, he's been scapegoated, but trying to move on. We can get a younger centre-back to replace him as a rotational player. There's no doubt he's been scapegoated. The treatment of Harry Maguire has been over the top. Now, the criticism has been warranted in regards to some of the performances, but what he's been blamed for and some of the agendas and sort of misinformation about Harry Maguire has been shocking. But that's what comes with being a Manchester United player. It's unfortunate. It's not fair. But he unfortunately hasn't been able to deal with that. His performances have got worse off the back of that. Now, again, it's not fair. But to succeed at Manchester United, you're going to have to sort of fight through that and get the best out of yourself. He hasn't been able to do that, so that is where I believe his time has come to an end at United. But obviously, Shatsy, Tottenham is the one very lazy. If I'm playing Football Manager here, the first thing I'm doing, Harry Maguire, Harry Kane, what deal can we do? I think it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense for United. It makes so much sense for Spurs in regards to the money they'll get in terms of the deal. It'll obviously favour Tottenham financially. And then you obviously look at Harry Kane wants to move. He wants to come to Manchester United, I believe. And Harry Maguire, in regards to, now who knows how Tottenham are going to play next season. Who knows what's going to happen managerial-wise there. But let's say, just off the back of Harry Maguire goes there this season, they play three at the back quite often. Harry Maguire likes three at the back. It makes sense for all parties. Now, Daniel Levy's obviously going to be at the table, and that could change things drastically. I'm not sure what side. So Daniel Levy's obviously going to be a big player in this transfer window. And he will impact Manchester United. Is he going to come and buy Harry Maguire? Is he going to allow us to talk to Harry Kane? I'm not sure. But before we do wrap up, we'll go to the next name on the list, or the final name, in regards to Anthony Martial. In regards to, I think we're all sort of sold on Weghorst in regards to what needs to be done there and his future. I don't think anyone, maybe if you're in the chat and you do think Weghorst should stay, let us know. But I think we're pretty unanimous in regards to sort of, actually just seeing Chris here. Jumping off, boys. I missed the podcast. Hopefully be on more often. No issue, mate. Always appreciate you tuning in. Hope all is well. Enjoy the rest of your night. But on Anthony Martial, yeah, Weghorst, I think we all sit here. Okay, Weghorst has to go. Anthony Martial, in regards to, since he's come back from injuries, as he always is, we kind of looked at him to be a little bit of a saviour and think, okay, take your chance now. And simply, he hasn't taken his chance. Now, the team around him hasn't been performing well, so obviously he can point to that and say, well, okay, no one around me is performing. What do you expect from me? And there is sort of some validity to that. But ultimately, he's a striker. Who cares? Harry Kane's performing at Tottenham when no one else is. You do have to make the most of the situation, and Anthony Martial simply hasn't done that. The stats going around in terms of, Rob brought one up earlier, I think 9 goals in 3 years. Whereas the Raw feel like Martial could have left 3 years ago and nobody would have noticed. It's just one of those things where I go back to trust and Erik ten Hag. Okay, does Erik ten Hag trust the player, or is it more likely to be put on the transfer list? Does he trust Anthony Martial to provide good football and make Manchester United better the team? I think, yeah. I think he's almost the perfect striker for Erik ten Hag. So I think he does trust him in the way he plays football. And obviously that is a benefit to Manchester United and the way Erik ten Hag wants to play. But in my opinion, there's 2 places where he obviously doesn't trust him, and that is ultimately the kicker in this in regards to finishing his chances. Now, Martial is arguably probably the best finisher at the club. He's a brilliant finisher. But it's one of those things. He doesn't finish well at the moment. It makes no sense, but he needs to take his chances. In terms of when he does put one in the bottom corner or top corner, you think, yeah, he's got it. And he's unreal in regards to that. Obviously, a lot more composed than, let's say, Marcus Rashford, who has a far better goal scoring record this season. Football doesn't make sense at times, but ultimately, Martial's not scoring goals. And like Weghorst, if you're the number 9 for Manchester United, you need to score goals. And there's a stat, as I said, only 9 goals or something, 9 league goals in a couple of years. And for a Manchester United striker, that's not good enough. It's not even good enough for a second or third choice striker. You do need more than that at Manchester United. And I think ultimately the main reason why he can't be trusted, well, I don't need to spell it out. We know why he can't be trusted. He can't be trusted to get off the bus on a Saturday. You don't know if he's going to be fit and available. So ultimately, if he can't be trusted, you do have to look elsewhere. You do need to move him on. But my question is then, okay, you move Weghorst on. He's not good enough. Let's get rid of him. Who's coming in? You can't just, sell Anthony Martial, then you've just got Harry Kane playing 60 games a season up front. You are going to need backup. Obviously, you could look to potentially sort of move Marcus Rashford centrally, but I don't think that's the case. I think his best football will come from a wide area. Obviously, he can fill in, but I don't think he's someone you sort of pin your hopes on. As said, the stat going around in terms of the last couple of months, it's crazy. I can't get my head around this. And again, it's Twitter, so don't quote me on this, but it's doing the rounds that Marcus Rashford has scored 2 Premier League goals in 3 months. I just think that doesn't compute with me because Rashford's been banging in goals for fun this season. But maybe so we're a little bit blinded by a bit of a fantastic purple patch throughout the middle of the season. But 2 goals in 3 months for Marcus Rashford. Is that the makings of a Man United striker? It's clearly not. Now, he hasn't been playing through that number 9 position, of course, granted. But that is where you do look at Anthony Martial. And does Erik ten Hag trust him? I think in regards to the way he plays football, yeah. I think he does. I think he's perfect for Erik ten Hag. Can't be trusted, and if he can't be trusted, you have to move him on. We need to look to a brighter future because Box saying 8 years of Martial. In my mind, I still think as Martial's a young signing coming through. It's 8 years. It's crazy. He came in when Louis van Gaal came in. 8 years of Martial, had some highs but never reached potential, unfortunately. Yeah, definitely. And look, in regards to the expectation and potential, you'd look at Anthony Martial, and I think a lot of people throw him straight into the flop category. Take away the price tag and just look at a young French striker coming in. 8 years at Manchester United, won a couple of trophies. He's actually done extremely well. For not often that happens. So Manchester United, a player comes in and performs like that and has the contribution to our club as Anthony Martial has. But you throw in the price tag, you throw in the expectations, you throw in a bit of drama in regards to how the whole team has performed, etc. And suddenly Anthony Martial's time at United looks sort of extremely poor. I think if you break it all down, I think he's actually done quite well. Now, like maybe some other players, maybe the time is done to potentially move on. But do let me know your thoughts on Anthony Martial. Just 1 or 2 more shouts in here. Who was that other striker that hung on for like 5 years too long? Manucho. It wasn't Manucho. Manucho was there. He didn't stay too long. I'm probably thinking of Federico Makeda. Manucho, once he got his goal, he left straight away. But Makeda, he bounced around for a couple of years after that Aston Villa goal, and rightly so. I'd been clinging to that as much as I could. David Bellion, who was the other one like David Bellion? Obviously, a young French winger, Gabriel Obertan. The names do roll off the tongue, unfortunately, for some wrong reasons at times. But those 3 names, David Gea, Harry Maguire, and Anthony Martial, in the comments below. Do let me know in regards to, again, not just your opinion, but what you think Erik ten Hag, not his opinion, what he thinks is the best way to approach these situations in regards to the backings from the owners. What's he going to get in the transfer window? And is that potentially going to sort of impact his decision-making? Because, as I said, like David De Gea's mentality, that is a huge trait. Okay, you can talk about passing out from the back or shot-stopping ability. Another trait is the experience of a Manchester United keeper. And the fact of the matter is our next goalkeeper is not going to have the experience of being a Manchester United goalkeeper. So they might take like a duck to water. They might be absolutely brilliant when they walk through the doors at Old Trafford, or they might be like a lot of other goalkeepers who arrive at United and just aren't cut out for it. You don't know, unfortunately, until that happens. And that is the risk you do take, and that is the life of a Manchester United player. Harry Maguire, I think it's clear Erik ten Hag doesn't trust him. I think the future is away. I feel quite confident that all parties can get a move, and that's best for all parties, for both the player and club. And Anthony Martial, I think, is a very sort of strong sticking point in regards to, I think he's a very good player and sort of suits Erik ten Hag, and Erik ten Hag likes him. Does Erik ten Hag trust him in the 2 sort of real key aspects? Can he finish, and will he be on the pitch on a Saturday? I don't think he does trust him there. But if you sell Weghorst, you don't have anyone up front, especially if you're not going to invest heavily. Who are the owners? So I'm not sure what's going to happen. Do let me know your thoughts. Unfortunately, Larry's not with us today. Fingers crossed he can join us again soon. Do me best, flying solo. If anyone does want to come on, I don't want to sort of be asking people to come on anymore. I feel bad for doing that. But if you do want to jump on anytime, do let us know. And I can throw you on the substitutes bench and you can get an appearance. They'll be very much appreciated. But until then, hope everyone has a good couple of days. We are playing, it's on the weekend, so there will obviously be a preview at some stage throughout the week, and any other breaking news, we'll definitely go live and have a chat about it. But until then, please do leave a like on the video on your way up. Be very much appreciated, and I'll chat to you in a bit. Cheers.